Hi everyone, I'm making this video from a very dazzlingly bright body. I actually have had, over the last 20 years of my life, a visual condition. So it's diagnosed as a degenerative disease of my sight, which is predominantly affecting night. My vision at night, but also in kind of dim spaces, and there is some visual loss as well, and there's some like peripheral visual loss. It's definitely been a journey. It's been an intensive journey. It's changed a lot in my life, along with, I also had long COVID for 4 or 5 years, which I'm still coming out of, still emerging from that, and it's a complicated story, but one that I just wanted to bring to light for a few reasons. I'm not really sure what they are right now, but I feel them. It feels poignant. It feels like, this, well, I don't know if you know, but the Lionsgate portal had begun to open on the 27th approximately. And so that energy starts to build from the 27th, and we're moving towards the 8th of August in terms of the energy expanding and deepening and profoundly inviting us into a space of self-witnessing, clarity, and into our deepest expression of lion energy, of Leo energy, and of the power that goes beyond the very human idea that we have of power. The power that goes beyond even the idea of power that we think is healthy. I think the actual divine essence of power is something that's probably quite intangible for a lot of us, because we haven't been allowed to bathe in it, we haven't been allowed to embody it, we haven't allowed ourselves to embody it. It's something that we're moving towards as a collective, but I think it's something that's taking us a long time, and we're needing to go through a lot of chaos before we get to it. We're needing to go through a lot of not just self-witnessing, but witnessing as a collective, our sort of framework, our major framework that we have created as a unified collective, which might be hard to discern that, because obviously we live in a complicated, complex world where there's lots of different cultures and nationalities and different approaches and religions and practices as parents or within business, or just so many different sort of archetypal energies that we all align with, and so it makes it quite complex. But there is an overarching framework that we can't really see because we're not so objective, but it's there, and we all exist within it, and we all create it, and we all create it and share that creative activity. The fact that we can't understand that energetically, how fused we are to one another, is the reason why we can't understand power in its purest divine essence. We may have had moments of it, of that grace, moments of a sense of beauty and purpose that goes beyond the need to get feedback from the world, the need to fill a gap within ourselves, the need to feel elevated above others. We may have moments of connection with that and its depth, but walking with it and living with it in a continuous and sort of effervescent way, if you like, is something that we're beginning to attune to. And for some, they might feel like they're closer than others, but it's not a race and it's not a hierarchy. And I know that this might rub people up the wrong way, but I do really have that understanding within myself that none of us are gurus. None of us are here to educate each other on within the realm of spirit. We're here to walk each other home. And you know, as much as I might be sharing my story and my insights, and somebody else's, you know, if I sit with somebody, even if I'm perceived as the healer, even if I'm the one receiving payment for the experience, I am still receiving deep self-witnessing through that process. I am gifted by that other person, and everything that they say, which for me it's always confusing. I find it hard to not hard to receive money, but I find it hard to because I see that greater dynamic of that purity of the power shared between us in that space, the grace shared between us, and the deepening and the learning that I'm receiving from that person, allowing themselves to drop into whatever it is that may be arising for them. And that's such a gift, and it's such a beautiful thing, and it's such a privilege. And so yeah, I do sometimes, when I sort of sit within that energy, I find it hard to take money from someone, but I know also that's also part of my conditioning around money, and it's and also not so much just around money, but around my self-worth in terms of how I open up to receive. And that's changing. It's changing with the years, and it's changing with time, and it's changing every time I heal something within myself. So this energy of power is coming up strongly for me in terms of the ways in which I prevent myself from experiencing that true divine essence of power, and what they are, maybe kind of a little intangibly, you know, like maybe I don't need to have all the details. Maybe this Lionsgate portal, with its beautiful lion energy and its deep intergalactic frequencies, the energy that comes from the most powerful source of light, but comes through a very particular type of frequency, which is bent towards understanding how we can embody ourselves, how we can turn up in the world in a way that feels true, and maybe even fierce in a way that isn't aggressive, but in standing in that full presence of self. And maybe fierce isn't the right word, but it's an ownership that is unapologetic, I guess. An ownership of self that is letting go of the burdens that we create within ourselves, that we may feel that others place upon us, but that we actually have created within ourselves through this idea that we need to be something other than who we are. And coming back to the eyesight, whenever I have moments where I'm trying to navigate a world at the moment that's much, if anyone's been to Bali, that's I love it, but it's very diverse. Even like the streets and, you know, the roads and everything has, you know, there's just constantly like potholes and steps and, you know, up and down and in and out, and some areas are lit and some areas aren't. It's unpredictable, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And everything that I'm doing over here is hugely challenging for my eyesight, especially when we're trying to navigate areas in the dark. And even if I have a torch, it doesn't always help me in the way that you would think it would. I don't really have any rods left, which are the parts of my eyes that navigate darkened spaces. So yeah, it's, for me, it's a real gift for me in terms of understanding. It kind of hones in, it's an acute focus on how I how embarrassed I get. I used to get so embarrassed that I really wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't do the things that I knew were particularly hard, because I found it so difficult that I couldn't see when someone was trying to shake my hand, or they're holding out a drink, or I'm falling down steps, or it's uncomfortable for anybody. But the idea that these things would prevent me from doing it, or I would try to do it and I'd be horrified that I wouldn't do as well as I thought I would, and I'd go through a series of mishaps, and I'd come away from the situation feeling deflated, like I'd failed. And so over the years, it's been slowly allowing myself, choosing to do more, choosing to be seen more, choosing to be uncomfortable, allowing myself to be uncomfortable, learning how to be with people, and letting myself feel everything that I feel in those situations, and then ultimately moving through those feelings and coming out the other side with a little bit more steadiness, perhaps not on my feet, but internally within myself, acceptance of what it is to be in that particular struggle. And I'm just really honoring and noticing and feeling the gratitude for the things the gifts we're given by God, that we might not understand to be gifts, that we might not be able to see as something that is being given to us, something that we've chosen before we came into this incarnation, because we knew that it would help us to align more deeply with ourselves, with our actualized selves, but not necessarily in the physical form, but just to attain as much of that fabric of our infinite selves as we can, as we are hoping to do in this lifetime. And that's not an expectation that we need to hold for ourselves, because whatever it is we've chosen, the amount that we've chosen to align with in this lifetime is it's already done. It's already something that we have set our sights upon before we've taken this particular walk, this particular path. And so allowing ourselves to rest into that there is already this divine wisdom, this creator, co-creator, this map that's been laid out before us, and we're just remembering the sort of bouncing here and there between this kind of maze that it might seem sometimes like we're lost, or that we don't know where we are, but actually we're just remembering this path. And I think that allowing ourselves to be in the forgetfulness brings us closer to the remembrance. And allowing ourselves to let go of the expectation of what we think it should look like, because that's often a creation that comes from the need for safety. And so offering ourselves compassion for that need, offering ourselves compassion for the need to create an idea of what's coming next, and knowing that there's probably a seed of truth in it, but perhaps there is a whole world of becoming that we could not imagine even if we tried. And perhaps there's challenges that we didn't think we'd face, but perhaps there's wondrous worlds of experience waiting for us. And I think this time is a deep time of self-witnessing. It's not necessarily quite a time of seed planting just at the moment, but we're preparing to plant those seeds. We're preparing to expand into another expression of ourselves. It's such an important time of shedding, and I see that snake energy is also with us at this time. So allowing that powerful lion energy, but also the shedding of the skin through the act of of allowance of this natural organic process that we all need to go through. And some of us are doing it consciously, and some of us are doing it without really understanding the fullness of the journey. So embracing it with gratitude. I will check in again closer to the 8th. We are traveling at the moment. We're going to be heading back through Bali soon on the journey home, so which is why I haven't been in touch in quite some time, so apologies for that, but I will be more consistent from here on in, hopefully, well, maybe in a few days. But sending you all love at this time, and I hope you're meeting with this divine influx of deep source energy with openness and gratitude. And if you are finding intensity, trying to welcome the intensity as much as possible and allowing yourself to feel it with the intention of ultimately healing and release. All my love. Take care.